Welcome back, everyone. Let's do a game review of the FIDE Women's World Cup 2025. This is going to be an all-Indian final. It's going to be Humpy Koneru playing with white versus Divya Deshmukh playing with black. And let's just start the game. So we get d4 and d5, c4, e6. Now this is going to be a Queen's Gambit decline, as if black were to take the pawn directly, then we have a Queen's Gambit accepted. So knight goes to f3, knight to f6, g3, and then the game changes. Once this idea comes of Fianchetto the bishop, then it's no longer a Queen's Gambit decline, it's more of a Catalan opening. But we still have very similar structures. So now this turns into kind of a Catalan opening, the close variation, but it's gonna look a lot like the Queen's Gambit accepted the structures, but now the bishop is here. Okay, so bishop gives a check on b4. They have to move and protect this check. Bishop to d2, a5, just guarding the bishop. Okay, queen to c2, targeting the pawn. Bishop takes on d2, knight takes on b2, and this pawn is under fire. So black goes with a very logical move, b5, protecting the pawn. a4, okay, just attacking the pawn that was guarding this other one here, c4. c6, if they take, they just take here, and the game continues. Now b3, c takes on b3, that's the best move in the position. You also don't want to open up this diagonal because the rook will be under fire. Okay, knight takes on b3, then castle, both players castle, and then we get to bishop to a6, putting the bishop on this long diagonal. I love this idea. It's not the longest diagonal of the board, but it's still targeting this rook. So it's still a very good diagonal for the bishop. Knight to c5, okay, targeting the bishop. Now we take this pawn. Black takes this pawn on a4, and knight takes on a6. Rook takes back. Rook takes on a4. The knight is finally developed, so we have the two knights that are being developed. So what is the difference in this game? What are the imbalances? The bishop, right? The bishop is the biggest difference in this game. So the task for white will be to open up this diagonal and maybe get the rooks into this file, so it can be attacked, right? And you want to coordinate your pieces like this. And for the knight, you also want to annoy the bejizos out of white with the knights. Okay, so rook f to a1, targeting and putting more pressure on this pawn. Queen b6, knight to d2, finally opening the diagonal for this pawn. Fortunately, its target is being protected twice by black, by Divya. So rook goes to rook f2 goes to a8. Sorry. Now e3. Knight goes to d5. Okay, centralizing the knight. It's a better square for this knight anyway. Knight to c4, hitting the queen. So queen goes to c7. Queen to d2. Knight 5 goes to b6. Okay, just rerouting here. And queen takes on b6. Now we're gonna get a rerouting of the knight. It's gonna land on this square. Rook to c1, knight to d5. Okay, and in terms of strategical mistakes, you don't really want to take this this knight, because the potential for this bishop is so much. So, and they have very good coordination of the pieces. So all of the pawns are in dark squares. You want to keep this light square bishop and have this diagonal for the rest of the game. So it's, according to the computer, this is not objectively a bad move. It's actually perfectly fine. But okay, the game continues, and it's actually just offering a draw. I also understand that Humpy Koneru was low on time, so she wanted to get rid of all material, simplify, and maybe play for another day. Okay, so we're gonna get a lot of moves that are maneuvering, dilly-dally, maybe a little bit more inconsistent, and you cannot really go super aggressive in this position. So we're gonna get h3, queen b6, rook e1. queen c7, queen c5. Like a lot of moves that are just rerunning, just trying to see if the opponent makes a mistake. So okay, finally we get a little bit more space on this side of the board. g6, rook to a1, queen b6. All of this is just like, okay, I'm gonna try to improve my king a little bit, improve my queen, and see if the opponent makes a mistake. Nothing is happening for about 40 moves until this one. e4. So e4 is a mistake. So the best move in the position is just to keep doing the same thing. Maybe you can put the rook here. Instead, they go with e4. This is a mistake in the game because you're offering basically a pawn. I guess white thought that they will have enough compensation after pushing this pawn on d5, but that is just objectively a mistake. Okay, so the game continues. They takes on c4 and queen to c3. That's the best continuation. Now after this happens, d5 happens, and then we get queen to e5. Okay, so this is an advantage of 2 points already in the game, because we have just the pass pawn, right? And black, so this cannot really happen. That will be hanging the queen. So black has the advantage. Rook goes to d1. And now to capitalize this advantage, we have to play this move. Rook to d8 is the absolute best move in the position. Again, this cannot happen. First he hands the queen, and then it also hands the rook. Okay, so instead of rook to d1, then black plays this move, c takes on d5. It's not the best move in the position because now we are gonna have to move the rook. Sorry, the queen, not the rook. The rook is putting pressure on the queen, so we have to move it and maybe target this other rook that seems like it's kind of unprotected. It's at least unprotected, but if we only count material, black is playing for a win, right? They are up 2 pawns, so there should be an advantage there. Now white gives a check. King has to move. Okay, now this pawn is basically lost. There is no way we can protect this pawn. Okay, let's just move the queen, and this is an offer of queen, and the king goes back to objectively being a draw with perfect play. Okay, we go to rook to f5. We have this threat of rooks. Now king goes to f3, king to g7. This is what you want to do in the endgame. Activate your king, get it as close to that you can to the center. And if you fail to do this, maybe you can aim for this outer center. But yeah, always want to centralize your king when you have a few pieces. King to e5, rook to a6, king to d5, f4, and then this looks like a logical move. It's just, okay, I'm just taking a pawn. What is wrong with this one? Yeah, the problem is going to allow a5 to advance to a4, and we can just push this pawn. The best move in the position was to take with this pawn, and there is no risk. There is absolutely no risk for white. They can never lose in this position. Probably they were afraid that the king can infiltrate here, but objectively this should have been fine. Okay, after rook takes on f4, then we get a4. Clearly, I'm just gonna push my pawn. a3, okay, rook to b1, and this is going to be very difficult to defend for white. f3, a2, and now this is the only defensive move to prevent promotion. So rook goes to a3, king to d4, and now also black has to make a decision. Maybe it's gonna be hard to push this pawn, right? But wait a second, we can also win material on this side of the board and try to push these 2 pawns. Okay, king goes to d5, rook to a4, and this is what you have to do. Very good technique. You have to cut out the king. You cut out the king, and then the king is gonna have to make retreated moves, not getting close to the pawn. Okay, king goes to d6, rook to a5. It's the same technique, just repeat it. Let's just go down the board, push the king away as far as possible. Now they're forced to play this awkward move with the pawn. g4, rook goes to a7, giving a check, king to c6, and now we have infiltrated the king and we can win these pawns. So g takes on h5, We win this pawn, and now we have a passer here, okay? And these two pawns are really awkward. They can easily be targeted by our rook. A5, king to d5, a4, h7. Okay, we just take the pawn. Rook takes on h7. Finally getting rid of this pawn. Then king goes to g3, rook to a8, and now after a few moves, this pass pawn is so dangerous. What you want to do is build the bridge. You want to put your rook behind the opponent's rook and the kings. So rook to g4, rook to f8, f3, king to f5, f2. This is only a good technique. Rook to f7, king to g2, and there is nothing stopping black from promoting this pawn, except maybe they can just give up the rook, takes, and this is a completely winning position. So with this game, Divya Deshmukh, and with this game, if I am not mistaken, Divya Deshmukh wins the title of Grandmaster, a spot in the candidates for the next year. And yeah, this is the first time in history an Indian player wins this tournament. It was going to be an Indian winning this tournament anyway, but yeah, she's got it in the bag. Okay, I hope you liked this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.